Welcome to Uncopyable Women in Sales. If you're looking for actionable insights and real-world tools to turbocharge your sales starting tomorrow, well, you're in the right place. Your host, Kay Miller, earned the affectionate nickname Muffler Mama when she sold more automotive mufflers than anyone else in the world. In this podcast, Kay will talk to another superstar woman in sales as they reveal uncopyable strategies you can use to rack up more leads, snag dream clients, and take your sales numbers through the roof. Stay tuned and get ready to make more sales and how about this? More money.
Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Mindy Cox. Mindy is the lead interior designer for the REV Recreation Group. She's also involved in the family business she started with her husband in 2018. That business, Apex Custom Furniture, manufactures and sells luxury custom furniture to the RV industry. Mindy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Kay.
You come highly recommended by Joe Snyder of FCCC, and he recommended I talk to you, and I'm excited. I've got a little bit of your background, but first of all, why don't you tell us about the couple different positions that you have?
I really currently have two positions that I am involved in. On the design side, I am the lead interior designer for a large RV company called REV Recreation Group based out of Decatur, Indiana. And my responsibilities are designing and working with the engineering staff as well as our sales team in designing and putting together different models for the company, from the high-end diesel products all the way down to the lower-end gas products. And it's myself, and I also have another designer that works with me there, and we really handle everything between the two of us.
So you get to do the fun stuff, right? Putting together the interior design that makes the...
It is fun. It is fun. It's also can be quite stressful because we're responsible for making selections from the cabinetry down to the hardware to the floor tile. Anything that you have in your home is what is condensed into a motorhome that has to meet specific codes such as commercial, vehicle. Also, it has to be available in mass production. So its supply chain has been quite challenging even since COVID, of landing on a product and being able to get it to us and can have continuity on it. So we're sometimes having to find subs that look just like what we had because we can't get something. So I love it, but on occasion it can be a little stressful. But yeah, it's a great job. I've been doing it for many years and it's very rewarding. And I don't know that I would want to do anything else.
Well, that's great that you fell into that. I don't know if you fell into it, but did you study interior design in college?
I did. I went to college thinking I was going to be a veterinarian, and somewhere along the way, my career path changed, and I chose the field of interior design and architecture and graduated from the University of Tennessee at that time. In the early 90s, it was a 5-year degree and an accredited program for interior design. So I took it very serious. There's interior decorators in the world, and then there are interior designers. So it is a title. And I had no idea I was going to be designing RVs, but that's kind of another story. So I ended up going to work for a corporate firm, and we had a great customer come in, and he became my client, and he was a high-end dealer in the area where I lived. And I started designing motorhomes for his company, his dealership, $1 million plus motorhomes for Dolly Parton and some of the, NASCAR drivers. And they were, the highest end motorhomes you could design. So I was started at the very top.
Dolly Parton, how fun would that be?
Yeah. I love her. Back in the day, I didn't realize who really she like. I knew that she was Dolly Parton, but now 30 years later,
I know.
it's like, holy cow, like she is someone that everyone just looks up to and admires. And we're
Right.
so proud to have her from the area where I live. She's from Tennessee, just down the road from where I am from. So
How fun.
that
How
was
fun.
cool.
And yeah, I didn't realize some of these RVs are $1 million and even up. So
Even up, yes.
even up. So these aren't just your run of the mill. You said you work with a variety of kinds of RVs, but I'm sure it's most fun to do the ones that have the big budgets.
It is. We designed for, like I said, the company. They then go out into the world and sign many dealers, and those dealers sell our product based on interior A, B, or C. We give them choices, limited choices. We are not in a custom situation with everything we sell. We are a manufacturer, and we retail. We sell to dealerships, and then they sell to the people in the world that want to go RVing. So
Right. And so you're not really, we talked about this a little bit, you're not really involved in the sales side with REV Group, which does have a bunch of different brands too, right?
right, yes, they do.
Even though I think you said you sit in on sales meetings for them, right?
I do, because I always, err on the side of sales, because without them, we wouldn't have a company. I mean, it all boils down to selling. And when I'm planning my interiors, I'm thinking about the end user. And in turn, that's really selling,
Right.
because, yeah, you want to check the box for those people that are out there shopping and looking for, just like buying a home. Is the floor plan right? Does it have the kitchen layout I want? Does it have the private bathroom? Does it have bunk beds? I mean, there's a lot of different floor plans that we come up with for customers to serve their needs.
So you really do have to put yourself in the customer's shoes and
Yes.
probably think about what you would want if you were, and you might be an RV owner, what you would want.
Correct.
So help them make that decision.
Customer feedback is extremely important. I do attend the majority of the bigger RV shows. I sit in the units. I listen to the customers just walk in like I'm just a customer myself, and take notes and hear what they say as soon as they, come in and look around. It's either they keep coming in because they like something, or, oh, this is not for me. So there's so many tastes.
I'm sure.
Likes
And
and dislikes.
you've just been on the RV show circuit, it sounds like, huh?
Yes, it's been busy the last couple months.
So busy but fun, I'm sure. So we talked also, since this podcast is mainly women in sales, you also serve more of a direct sales role with your other company that it sounds like you have with your hubby, and that is Apex Custom Furniture, right?
That's right.
And so when did you guys start that?
We started the furniture company in, let's see, we are now just going into our 6th year.
Okay, so that's been a while, and you said the REV Group was impressed when you presented this to them, and then you've also got another customer too. So, how did you? So you were involved in that sale, and so do you want to talk about your approach with them and how you and your husband, I'm sure, got them to buy in on that?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, actually. Just with your years of experience, and I'm not saying everyone has to be. I'm currently in my mid-50s, so I feel like over my career, I've listened a lot, and I found there was a need out there for furniture and RVs being more like what you have in your home, more stylish, more comfortable. It didn't have to look like a park bench. It didn't have to sit uncomfortable. It was, just something that I kept finding the backs were too low. And even though I would work with my suppliers to design the right pieces, they couldn't listen to what the design, intent was. So I approached my husband. He and his family have been in family retail furniture business for 40 plus years and have, 2 stores here in our area, and always going to the furniture markets. And I would go to and just see things that I thought, oh my gosh, that would look so beautiful in what I'm designing. We should start designing RV furniture. And he, kind of laughed at me and said, I don't know about that. And of course, I was pretty persistent in selling him on the idea. So we started talking about it, and we actually said, let's see what we can come up with. And my son is involved, my husband, my daughter, myself. Like, it's a family business on the Apex side. They also have their own careers as well, but they help us every day, and it's great. We came up with a name, Apex. They love to play golf. It's the highest point of a golf ball, and we wanted
Interesting. And you're a golfer too, it sounds like, right?
Yeah, we wanted to go, to the top of what we wanted to do. We didn't want to be everything to everybody. So we took my background and experience. There's a lot to RVs. There's a lot of components, slide boxes, a lot of different things that you can't just take a sofa out of your home and put in there. So we started out with one sofa. We took it up to the sales team and presented it and let everybody give us their feedback, and it was all positive. So from there, we said, okay, we're going to do this. So we were able to land our first order, and we just all went ballistic when we got an order for, I think it was maybe like $3,000 or $4,000 or something in the beginning. And
it's a beginning.
We created our own processes, and I kind of let them take the business side. I still am very involved in the design side of it. So I have to separate what I do with REV Group as a designer, but also am a supplier. So I have to be careful and not cross that line, it's good to know all, but sometimes I'm very passionate about the furniture side because it's ours. And I just want it to always be the best. And it's been great. We've expanded, and from there, we have signed another great customer. They are very, very well recognized in the industry. So we have kind of become a boutique brand of furniture. There's a lot of commodity type furniture out there, but we pride ourselves on custom furniture made in East Tennessee. We have a plant of workers. Everything is sourced domestically, and we are very proud of those folks that help us get
That's awesome.
Right product, to the and at the end of the day, the end user is extremely excited about what we do. We get a lot of calls and submissions. We just started a website last year, and we have an area where people, if interested, can put in their name, and we can reach out to them and contact them directly. So that's kind of direct sales, more them seeking us rather than us seeking them.
Right. And I really like the fact that you came up with this idea because you saw something that was lacking. And like you said, something you're very passionate about besides veterinary.
Yeah, that was, I love
3 dogs
animals,
too.
love horses. Growing up, I always was around the barn and doing stuff with my family in the horse riding. And I just knew I was going to be a veterinarian, but, went a different path, to say the least.
Right. Well, I'm jealous of your 3 dogs. We used to have 2 dogs, but right now we're petless, which is kind of sad.
Right.
Nobody's happy to see us come home.
I know. Isn't it a great feeling when you've been gone and you pull in and they come flying to the car?
Yes, right.
My husband's just standing there shaking his head like, they've missed you.
That's right. That's right. So with your Apex furniture business, then, like you said, most of the prospects that you get are incoming then from, is it basically your website then? Or probably word of mouth too?
Yes. Or some of our dealers, they pass our information on to customers that want to make some changes after the purchase. And they have reached out. Hi, we just bought this beautiful motorhome, but we want a theater sofa. We want something that's more reclining so we can watch the big TV across. So we will work with those guys individually. And that's where we get them. And I get involved in speaking to those customers just directly. They have shown interest in it, and I need to sell them on what particular piece that they want, where it's going to fit, sell them on the features, because it's not cheap furniture. It's expensive. RVs are not cheap. They are a luxury item for people. And the product that we sell is not something that you could find at West Elm or, Costco. So, I mean, they're investing in something that they are hopefully going to love, and it's going to be life-changing. Our tagline, I think, is take the comfort of furniture of your home with you on the road. So you should feel like you're in a luxury home when you're in your luxury RV.
Today's podcast is sponsored by the acclaimed book, Uncopyable Sales Secrets, How to Create an Unfair Advantage and Outsell Your Competition by Kay Miller. Put the secrets in this book to work, and you'll make more sales, grow your network, and become a top earner. See the show notes or go to Amazon.com and search for Uncopyable Sales Secrets to order the book right now.
They're spending a lot of time lounging on the furniture, watching TV at night, or sitting at the dinette, playing cards or eating. Or so when you're in the RV, you got to think about the activities that take place there.
So that's something that you talk customers through to help them decide, imagining different scenarios. I know you're very passionate about this. How do you present that to customers so that they decide to buy or how you recommend things?
Yeah, you want to have them imagine use it. What are they going to be doing? Like, have them think about after they might grill out underneath the awning and they come in for the evening and they want to watch a football game or a movie. Is it just the two of them? Is it a family of four? Is it their dog? They want to sit up on the sofa. I mean, there's a lot of things. So it's more of an kind of a interview with, tell me a little bit about you and your situation. How many are there? Are you full timers? Are you weekenders? There's just a criteria that I kind of go through to get an idea for what they probably need. And I think that's important.
Right. And I know you said that
they are.
One of your skills and one of the things that's made you so successful is your listening. But of course, you have to get them talking first. So
yeah, tell me a little bit about what you asked. Tell me just a little background. Are you new to the industry? Have you been RVers before? What have you experienced with what you currently have that you like or dislike? I mean, and let them fill you in on what it's all about, what you can provide them.
And I'm assuming that sometimes you present things they had never thought of, that they don't always know exactly what they want or what will give them the end result that they want.
Yes. And, it's kind of fun. I mean, I'm not a professional salesperson. I try to sell the product that I believe in and I know will be great for them. And maybe one particular customer doesn't have to have all the what I call bells and whistles on their sofa. But if I know I'm talking to someone that is in a very high-end luxury $1 million motorhome, I really offer them all the components, the versatile it's the icing on the cake type stuff that they are like, yeah, I like it. I want it, And it kind of depends too on the segment of the motorhome they own. I've noticed if they're in a $1 million motorhome, price is honestly not a big deal. If it's a guy in a little smaller class A and he's like, they want the manual recliner. They might not, they don't have the same needs. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Yeah, you've got to dial in your conversation based on who they are.
Yes.
So do you actually get to the point of, do you make a recommendation at the end, or how do you turn this into an actual sale?
I present everything and I say, usually I will send over what I think is exactly what we discussed today. And I call that a sales order. And you go over it. And if you approve it, you let me know and we will get things in motion. And or if you have any additional questions, then we can continue with what we're working on. And it's like, typically, I want it.
That's great. I mean, and what a fun product you sell. I know you have my book, and I have a nickname, Muffler Mama.
Yes, Muffler
I
Mama.
sold mufflers, and it's not nearly as exciting as what you're selling, and you're selling something that you're already passionate about. But all sales is a people business, and so even though my product wasn't exciting, it was really fun working with the buyers, the customers, and I'm sure, like you said, how exciting for someone to say, yeah, this is what we
Yes.
want. We're really excited about it. That's got to be a huge win for you.
It is a huge win. And the beauty of what I get to do is they, like I said, it's a need. They have already had an interest in what I offer. So I'm not just out trying to sell something that is something no one's even considered. So they already have an interest in the product. And I don't shove it down their throat. I mean, it's like if you really want this and it's great for what you need, we want to help you. But what I don't like is if I feel pressured. And
If you're a buyer, you mean when you're a buyer, right?
when I'm a buyer, I love to know all the facts and I love to know because I can make a decision based on if it's something that I feel, yep, this is it. I want this. And I just hate when someone continually is hounding me about buying something. Like it's almost a little bit of a turnoff in a way.
Oh, a huge turnout.
Yeah, I know. And I think in sales, there's a fine line between being a really great salesperson and wanting to work with your customer or just being a little over aggressive. And it's kind of something that would make me run away.
Right. And I think a lot of salespeople, it's like they're wearing their sales hat. And then when they're a buyer, they're wearing a buyer's hat. And like you said, no one likes to be, sold to in an aggressive way. That's not good for either side. When you're talking to somebody, then do you follow up with them if they don't get back to you, or?
I typically give them enough time and yes. And then after a certain period of time, I might just drop an email or a text message even. Hi, it's Mindy. We spoke a couple weeks ago. I just wanted to touch base and make sure you didn't have any further questions. And let me know if you have any needs. And if not, thank you for your submission. We appreciate you checking in with us. And again, that just is like a friendly reminder. Oh, yeah, we are interested. We just had family come in and we've took a trip or something has happened. It's not like you have to have your order in by today or you're done, so it's just a good way to be able to reach out. I do think follow-up is important. And we also let our customers know when they do send in a submission, allow us 2 to 3 days to get back. We're not a switchboard operator sitting on the end of a phone answering calls, every day like that. We're more of a family business. We want to make sure we get with you, but we're not going to like immediately call back in 30 seconds. And Amazon has been a real problem, I think, for people expect such quick turnaround.
I know we're in the, the immediate gratification world, I guess, which is tough. But, like you said, you're a boutique company and it sounds like you give really personal service. And I mean, you do have that advantage that people that are contacting you are highly qualified. So absolutely. I'm sure your closing rate is very high.
Yes, it is. And I've never realized if you just are very specific in what you offer, we have engineers, can you give me the specifics of the dimensions, how it's made? Like we have all of that information. And we just offer it to them, and it's usually, pretty simple. I mean, they know what they want. We also, one thing I do want to point out is I have realized that don't overpromise and underdeliver, because it's best to allow yourself a little bit of room in saying, we would realize this is all custom for you. We have to order in your materials, and it's 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 12 weeks, whatever it is. And if you tell them anything before that, they are calling the day that it's to be there. And
right. It's always better to surprise them by being early, right?
Yes. So always just allow, don't overpromise and underdeliver. So make sure that, if you send it early, they are even more pleased. The expectation was met and then some.
Exceeded. That's some great advice. I love that. Do you use a CRM or any type of tool for follow-up, or just use your calendar?
We just use our calendar, and we handwrite thank you notes too, which is very important, I think, just to get we have really nice stationery, and I kind of feel like just a personal little message. Jim and Kay just wanted to drop a message and say, we hope you've enjoyed your furniture, and if you ever need anything, and that seems to go a long way.
I'm sure it does. And that definitely makes you stand out. When we talk about being unique and uncopyable, I think that was more common in the past for people to write thank you notes. And now I'm sure it really stands out. Yeah.
And the younger people don't quite understand it as much, but our demographics is people that are older, some are younger, obviously, but the majority of our customers are some retired, some in their, 30s to 80 range, and
right. The people that can afford that are probably older. Yes. And like you said, older people are still from that world where you get thank you notes and handwritten cards. So
yeah,
I'm sure that makes you stand out.
Of something we feel is just a personal touch. And when they call, they talk to someone that actually is not someone at a switchboard, or it's usually someone in our organization that is part of the company they're talking with. So someone that is going to be their point person. I had to quit using my cell phone because I was making sure I was calling, right back. And then next thing you know, my cell phone is constantly blowing up. So my son, we've got to get a company phone and make sure,
right.
It calls all hours. People live in different time zones, and I'm a very, I have this nature of wanting to respond to someone pretty quickly, at least give them an answer back, and check that box, so.
I think that's really good. And when you mentioned Amazon and, the instant gratification, but if anything ever goes wrong with Amazon, I don't know if you've had that experience. I mean, there's nobody to talk to.
No one. No,
it's really frustrating.
Whatsoever. And then I go to my UPS store, and there's piles of to the
returns.
Ceiling of everybody bringing stuff back,
I know, and they encourage you to do that. So this is a totally obviously different kind of sale, yeah. Kind of relationship, everything's different. But like I said, I've gotten so frustrated with Amazon sometimes.
Me too. I barely use it unless I absolutely do.
I know. Support local business, right?
Yes. And I'm in touch, being in design, I love to feel things, look at things in person, touch, very, very much that way. I don't shop online for clothing. I don't know. It just doesn't ever fit me like it fits the picture when I see it.
Well, yeah. It's hard to look at yourself in something after you've seen it on the model.
Yes. Yes. Like, wait.
So that fits with what you do. And like I said, your interior design, I'm sure you're very visual in general. So, what you've given some great advice. I love the sending the cards. I love the way that you really explain how these, features will not only become benefits, but how they'll fit into the customer's lifestyle. And then you said something else really brilliant, but it escapes me at the moment. So, thinking about the women and men that are listening to this podcast, what kind of advice would you give them? And besides the nuggets that you've already given, what would you say to other salespeople?
I would say that relationships and just being able to listen more than you talk is important. My husband always tells my daughter, she's in sales now and she's really doing great.
Yeah, you said she's killing it.
She is killing it. And she tells me all the time, she has such enthusiasm about her clients. And, oh, I met such and such today and what they do and how impressed she is she has small business. And so there's a lot of cool stories. She's very passionate. I think passion is a key in what you do. If you don't love what you do, it's going to show.
It shows, right. And like I said, even if your product isn't something that you're in love with, you're still working with people. You're helping them either improve their life or improve their business. So I do think enthusiasm is contagious. And
it is. Positive enthusiasm is so contagious. And, if you hear the word no, it's sometimes, gives you a little bit more gumption to kind of go after them a little bit more and say, tell me why no? Like, what do you mean? What have you heard? Really understand if you're faced with someone that's not interested, they've just probably been approached in a not so great way. So maybe you can have them open their eyes to a new idea. Some people are very set in their ways and they don't want to hear what you have to say, or they're not interested. But when they take a minute, if you can capture their attention just long enough to have them just think about it, they sometimes will then reach back out to you. My advice is just to always, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Try to listen more than you talk in the beginning, and really understand the needs. And sometimes the needs are not there, so you need to move on. Don't waste your time too much on people that are going to just tell you no, 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 no. There's a lot more prospects out there, and if you do a great job and you service well, there's nothing better than sell. I always say what I feel like we do today, I want to affect tomorrow and beyond. Sell for tomorrow, not just for that moment.
That's another good nugget, especially, when you want referrals and you want your reputation to bring new customers in. And it sounds like that definitely happens for you. So just before we go, we're almost out of time. And you talked a little bit about growing up. You kind of had an interesting experience that may have affected what you do now or your attitude.
Yes. I mean, I was born at 1 years old. I was born in Kentucky. My family relocated to Florida. My dad was involved in the hay and grain business and trucking, and we moved down there and started our life. And we had a farm, and I always grew up. My mom said either had a dog on a leash or I was on the back of a horse. I was always busy, and I continued with the horses up through my high school years before I went to college, and just being involved in my riding career. And as a child, I met so many different people and I became extremely independent. I mean, that taught me a lot of lessons in life of just being responsible for, and I had to make sure my tack was clean and I was practicing, doing all the things. and it just carried through. And I met so many awesome people along the way.
And I think, hard work is one of the components of being successful in sales. It sounds like you have always been pretty driven. So, and you also had exposure to a lot of different kinds of people. So I'm sure that's helped you now.
We moved back to Tennessee. We moved to so we lived several different places in several different communities. And we went from a very busy city to a very small rural town. And I walked into the high school and there was like 100 people in my class. And it was just, so I had to figure out how I was going to fit in. And I was perceived as, the new girl. And that was interesting, but I made some really great friends there and moved on. I mean, it's just
that seems like it also builds that resilience. You can deal with a situation that's new or disappointing. So
yes, it does. I work with the guys that are the executives in our company at the REVs group down to the guys out on the line installing the furniture. And it's just, there's so many. We had a talk in our sales call yesterday, those unsung heroes that don't get recognized so much, but it takes a village of people working together to be successful.
Right. And those people are, really in the grand scheme of things, just as important. Like you said, even
right. The guys behind the sell that create all the products that you sell, they're very important. So yeah, it's been great talking with you. You're obviously very passionate about what you do. And like I said, you had some great nuggets that I think people will really benefit from. So thank you so much for spending the time with me. I appreciate it. It's an honor. I'm so happy that I got to actually talk with you. I've heard so many amazing things about you as well from Joe and some.
Oh, that's nice to hear.
Yeah. So
I'll put your information in the show notes in case someone wants to get in touch with you or one of your companies. So thanks again. I appreciate it a lot.
Enjoyed it so much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Uncopyable Women in Sales, your source for secrets you can use to make more sales. Check the show notes for links and contact information. And if you enjoyed the podcast, please spread the word by subscribing, sharing, and leaving a 5-star review. You can always learn more by going to uncopyablesales.com/podcast. Until next time, go out and supercharge your sales like a true uncopyable rock star.